What's up, everybody? Sorry, I had some technical issues trying to get this thing going. It's my first YouTube live. You guys can barely see me here, but you're gonna see the wheel instead of my face. I'm gonna make some pots for you. So I mainly make flower pots for a living. So my website, wolfpottery.com, is pretty much sold out. So tonight I'm gonna make a bunch of stuff for the website, and it'll be available probably in a couple weeks, week and a half, something like that. Cool thing about my website is I can make kind of whatever I want to do. So today I'm just gonna do whatever feels right. Just touch the screen. This has been a very popular shape on the website, so this is the first one. I think I got 12 pieces of clay together. This is fun. I don't know if you'll be able to see it until I get to the other side. I have my name, a little stamp, and a number, which is number 4, because this is 4 pounds of clay. The numbers indicate the amount of wet clay used on the side of the pot. Beautiful. Something about my sweatshirt. That's funny. I don't know if you can see it. The name is not backwards. It looks like it's backwards right now, but it is not. That's because the camera is backwards. Yeah, my sweatshirt. I'm fashionable. It's a new fashion. That's one of them. Like I said, tonight I'm just having fun. I can make whatever I want, put up whatever I want on my website. These pots will either be white in color or gray in color. Right now I'm just centering the pot, or the clay. Just bringing it completely into the center of the wheel head. And first move is all the way down to the bottom, which creates a drainage hole. And then I lift up and I pull out, which creates the base. So now the base is done. Go for the first pull. Usually it takes 2 or 3 pulls, depending on the size of the piece of clay, to bring it up to the height that I want. One hand for that crimping always takes me 2. Well, it's just, you can do it with 2, obviously. If you've done it, it looks like you've done it. I think I checked out your stuff. But yeah, for the smaller crimp, you know, it's a very small scalloped edge. So on the bigger ones, with the bigger scallop, you probably would want to pull it out. There's first pull, and then I do a second pull with the rib. And potters call tools like this or like this. I made this one out of a piece of ducting. They call them ribs because back in the day people used animal bones. So a rib had a perfect curve to it. So when you did the inside of the bowl or inside of a pot, it had a great curve. And the name just stuck. So whenever a potter says they're using their rib, people are like, why do you call it a rib? Goes back to ancient times. This is a cool tool. I think my father made me this, or I made this one. I can't remember. It was just a roulette. I made this out of clay and wood. So I just wet the rim, slow the wheel down. It creates a nice rope. Do that. And I just clean up with a sponge. Since I make the pot on a false bottom, which us potters call bats, I like to touch the pot as least as possible. It doesn't leave any fingerprints, it's just clean. So when that's done, I just go the other way because the way the rope is. And again, just stamp my name and a number, which is number 4. And this is a new bat, so I have to use a scraper to take it off the wheel head. So this, if you can tell, it has a rope design. All right. Sorry you can't see my face, everybody. So this is a bat. We call it a false bottom. And it has these 2 little holes in the side which connect to these 2 little knobs on the wheel head. And once it's on there, it's a false bottom. So I can pick the pot right up when I'm done. There's a bubble in it. I'm gonna get that out before I throw it. Good to go. What color do you call the last pot? Well, the pot itself is made with stoneware clay, which is a white clay in color. So, but as you can see, it's very creamy at the moment. Are there any specific types of clay you use? I use stoneware clay bodies for the white and gray clay, and then when I throw terracotta, I use terracotta. I like trying different clays. It's always fun to throw different clays. I have 2 boxes of clay below me that I haven't even tried out yet that a friend gave me. I'd like to try that out soon. It's just a basic earthenware clay that's very white in color as well. This one, I think I'll do a Old English traditional rim. Rim likes to have a little bit of a curve to it. I go make sure I got that correct. In this shape, I like to put a line right about here. Yes, that is true. Actually, the friend who gave me some clay is Christopher Spetz Miller, who is another potter. So we had a good time. We threw pots together, and at the end of the session, he was like, "Here, try some of this clay." So I was like, "Sweet." And this clay's a little bit rougher, so he likes to have very smooth clay, where this has some sand in it, just for stability. So when I used his clay, it was pretty amazing. I mean, my hands definitely, see, you can tell with my hands they should be pruned by at this point if you're using talc, which his clay body is filled with talc. So it's kind of like almost the same issue with using, when your hands get into cement, it just dries them out very quickly. But the clay is so smooth and elastic, it really felt good using. Well, yeah, I've been gifted clay from all different types of things. A friend came over one day with a batch of clay that was dug out of a construction site they were working on, and I tried to turn it, get all the dirt out of it, wash it out, and use the clay, and we were able to make a pot out of it. But it's just a basic Old English style flower pot. So that's 3 out of the 12. I don't know if you can see in the back, I have some stands, and I have some stands over there. and then some more stands over that way to dry the pots. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see from here, but I use a lot of fans. And we have a dehumidifier here in the basement, so I can really control the humidity level. When I'm working in my father's shop, we're really open to the elements, so pots dry a lot slower over there, or a lot faster depending on the humidity. What should I do with this one? I think I'll go with an Irish shape. How much time do I spend on the wheel each day? It really depends on the day. I have a lot of other things to do other than just, making pottery is only part of it. You have to dry the pots for 5 days or so. Well, it really depends. Yeah, it can be 3 to 5 days depending on the size of the piece for my stuff. And then, so in between that, I have to, these will come off the bats. I have to clean the bottoms. I also run a shop, so it really depends on the day. But yeah, I work all day, and some days it's only 6 hours on the wheel and 6 hours doing other chores. So that's probably the average. I think I'm gonna go with the Irish one. Family, right? Found this really cool tool. I'm gonna do with this one, which has also been popular. This one good with the line toward the bottom of the pot. So here's another tool that this one will give it they're called coggles. The English call them coggles. The French call them roulette. But this gives it an Irish Celtic knot look, which is really fun. And you probably won't be able to see it until I stop the wheel. And I'll bring the pot closer to you so you can see it. Hi Benjamin, your work is quite captivating. Do you consider yourself an artist? That's a tough question. I would probably consider myself a tradesman. Back in the day, because I'm a production potter, back in the day, like every village needed a pottery to get by, so it was more of a trade than it was a craft. And then when the tin can came out, everybody, all the potters freaked out because they didn't really need us anymore. It started to turn into a craft or an art, which is most certainly art, but because I'm mainly a flower pot maker and I'm making so many of these, yeah, I would probably more consider it a trade, but I'm an artist, crafts, however you want to use it, use the term. I haven't seen my full name in a comment in a long time. Usually hear that when I'm in trouble. And this one. Put a line in the rim. I'm gonna go for a shape I made when I was in my teens. And I forgot about it until beginning of this year. It's very Roman in shape. Right there I just pushed in on the sides and created a base. So like I said, this shape is very Romanesque, if that's a word. And then somebody mentioned using two hands before. This process I have to use two hands for. So right now I'm just pretty much pushing out with two fingers and in with one finger from the outside. That seems so much more fulfilling than a 9-to-5 desk job. You know, I wouldn't know what a 9-to-5 desk job was though. So you can be happy doing whatever you're doing. I'm definitely happy making pottery though. This one's pretty time consuming and you have to keep your hands very steady because if you weren't, then it would turn into art. You're starting to see what's going on here when the pot comes all the way around. And you can call that faceted. Looking good. Look who it is. Pops, what's up, buddy? My dad is on the live feed. Better not mess up. And yes, just to answer your question, Dad, I am going to leave it that way. My father and I have an ongoing joke where one finishes the pot and the other one says, "Are you going to leave it that way?" I'm just cleaning up all the fingerprints. And this one, because there's so much design going on, I stamped the inside of the pot with my name and the number, which indicates the amount of wet clay. It also determines our pricing down to the shop. If you can see what went on there. Cool. What was it like to learn the trade from my father? It was great. I also learned what to and what not to do. No, I'm just kidding. I learned a ton from my dad. It was awesome. It was awesome growing up and spending weekends with him, watching him run a shop and make pots, and then to start to work together, what, 16 or so? Like, take it seriously. So, it's been fun. And this year, coming back and going, sharing the show space together, we've been having a blast. Almost too much fun. He taught himself. The clay showed him everything. You know, that is kind of what happens, but obviously I saw what you were doing. But my dad's absolutely right with that comment, that the material really does teach you everything. It goes where it wants to go, and, well, you make it go there, but you really learn a lot from the material wanting to do specific things. This is the best live Potters chat ever. Nice. Thank you very much. It's nice to see other Potters in here. Now, what am I going to do with this one? That's the fun about making pots for the website. I do a lot of one-of-a-kind items. So when I get to this point, I kind of go, what do I want to do here? So I do have a new coggle I wouldn't mind trying out. I think I've only used this a couple times. We'll see how she goes. I obviously need to, you hear that, Dad? I'm not doing what I do down the shop. I need to WD the bar. So I'm going to pull out this rim just a little bit. Again, can you make it in gray and in white? Yes, so this pot will either be in white or in a gray finish. My gray is actually a finish. Let's see how that one came out. Oh, I like it. I think I need to make more of these. I know you guys can't see it yet until I get closer to the camera. Yes, very clean, Dad. I know. That came out pretty cool, huh? It's a different kind of rope. I likey. I likey. Alright, halfway done with the 12 that I'm going to do here. See, sometimes when I put the bat down, you can tell it's uneven. So I take a little bit of wet clay, put it underneath the bat, acts as a glue. I push it down. This one's giving me grief. And it's gonna come up. Sometimes I can just tell I can tell when failure is near. And that would be funny to fail. I know I have one friend that's watching that would truly enjoy that. This one's similar. My dad picks all his pots up, so he doesn't have to deal with this. I'm sure he's shaking his head like, what does he have to deal with that for? All that to avoid picking the pot up, deforming it, Pops. Why flower pots specifically versus other kinds of stoneware? We've kind of been, my father and I both have been, we like to jokingly say we've been adopted by the garden market, and we make thousands of flower pots a year. So, yeah, so I mean, we have the market, and we're stick to your niche. If you enjoy making something specific, I know I have to make a lot more of these, and say if I made a couple, vases or plates or just art pieces, I have to make, thousands of these a year to make our income, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the mass production. Plus, they get used. Because people buy them, we love throwing. Exactly. Yeah, that's a great answer, Dad. Yes. That was pretty direct. He's just going to answer. Apparently, my father's just going to answer here in the comments. Because people buy them. Let's do something a little different here. Yeah, but in retrospect for myself, I grew up with horticulture, all around me. Weekdays I was at a farm. Weekends I was with my dad. So, my mom was a gardener for a living and a house cleaner, but a gardener. And this one's cool. This is like a Greek key top. So in the end, seeing these pots planted up is the real cool thing for me personally. Obviously, it's great when people purchase them and this and that, but at the end of the day, seeing something that you made with a very happy, healthy plant inside of it just adds to everything. This is just a basic cooking tool. Do you have any more orchid pots ready for sale? Last time I looked, they were sold out. Thanks. I do have the orchid pots up at the moment. You can purchase them at wolfpottery.com. I think I only have the gray number 4 this size that I'm making right now available, but it will say it's out of stock, but I have like 6 at the shop, so either way, if you place an order on there, you can most certainly purchase them. Very true. They gave each other Ben Wolff pots for Christmas. Nice. You guys gave each other Ben Wolff pots. That's awesome. So yeah, anyway, that tool is just, this is a cooking tool, you know, for decorating pies. So a lot of bakeries and baking tools and cooking tools, you know, can work very good with making pottery for designs. This one's kind of fun. So when I stop the wheel, you'll be able to see the 2 different kinds of designs I put on it. So yeah, for the person who was asking, I'm so sorry my website's been out of stock. There's not much up there. I do have, like I said, the orchid pots available for you to purchase. It'll say out of stock, but they're there. You can purchase them, and I know I have a few, probably like 6 or so in stock. But that's what I'm doing right now too. So all these pots will be available on wolfpottery.com within, like I said, probably a week or 2. Probably more like 2 weeks. That's the thing about being a potter, you have to plan weeks ahead. But anyway, this shape is a Greek key. Doesn't that rim look pretty cool? And then the side has that cooking tool that I use. Oh, it's a little overboard on design, but once it comes out of the kiln, probably look pretty cool. Look good all planted up. That would be funny. A bunch of clay goes flying at the camera lens. Hayes Holmes. You ever add... Well, I don't know who that is, but quite the comment. To answer your question, as I think I understood it, no, I don't. I never have added anything like that. What a question. Hey Dad, if you're in here, why don't you answer that question? I have no idea what he said. I think I got an idea. Just you're thinking I'm just throwing the clay on the floor. I'm not. Message retracted. Okay. Well, somebody said something. That scallop shape does so well on the website that I'm going to do a rope scallop. Like I said, I'm just making whatever I feel like tonight, so. There's a rope. And that bar really needs some WD. Let's see here. Probably looks good down here. The shape. So that's a rope scallop. Thanks, Dad. I see you there. Yeah, the low line works good with when it's rope and a lot of design up here, then a low line. Just having fun with it, but as my dad always says, there's certain places where lines should go and for certain reasons, and for that one, there was so much design going on up above that the bottom could use just a little something like a single line. Artist. Absolutely, I agree. It's art. It's also a trade. And it's also a craft. Whatever descriptive word you want to use. To do here. Let me just make up something. You have done that before. I'm sorry, the last comment went away. I couldn't see it. I was focused on the pot and I couldn't see what somebody wrote here, so sorry. And this one, going for something a little different than I normally make. And like you guys said, that was the decision. Do I put a line in it? The top two ornate. I think it's good. Just the way it is, this one. No lines. Okay, so this one, I haven't made one of those. Like Fonzie. I have no idea what this means. There's something going on in the chat that I don't know about. I usually put all my tools right where the camera is, so I've been holding off. This one, I went with a rope on the side of the rim and then a line in the top. It was a little ornate, but it looks pretty good. I like it. Something new. Maybe a new pot for Wolff Pottery. Just for you guys to know, if you, Fonzie didn't have to comb his hair, it already was perfect. Okay. Thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it. So anyway, when I'm done with these pots, they dry for, like I said, about 5 days or so. Maybe less, depending on what's going on. And within 5 to 7 days, I'll have them out of the kiln completely, usually, for this size pot. And they either go to my website, wolfpottery.com, or they go down to Wolff Pottery in Banham, Connecticut, 1249 Banham Road. Thoughts on using a gauge? Well, the trick is for me that I do use a gauge. You just don't see what's going on. Because I've done these so many times. What is the biggest pot that I've ever made? My kiln is only about 24 inches big, so 24 inches wide is the biggest I've ever done. Or just under. So like 23 or so, and then the pot shrunk down to 21, something like that. But thoughts on using gauges? Some people will put a stick like that, if you can see it. Top of the rib, right. So see how some people will use a stick, which you probably know all about because you're a potter too. So my father throws to a stick. So if, say I wanted the pot to be right there, I would throw the pot, bring it out right to there. So that's one way to do it. Me personally, I use ribs. So it's a trick. So my rib will be the height. And then I know that my other rib will be the width, and because I do so many of these, and it's, so often, the width usually comes out to be exactly what I want it to anyway. We'll just test that theory in a second, though. And because I'm making squat pots, my number 2 height and my number 6 width. So, and that just means that the number 6 rib that I use for the height will be the width. This one I think I'm going to go very simple with. I'm just going to put a little line and push out the rim. And then my cutaway tool also works really good for making a nice little indent on the rim. Kind of gives it a split rim look. So my height was my gauge. Just about there. Very close. It's a little under. And then this is my number 6. As you can see, I went a little over, but it doesn't matter because these are one of a kind. So they'll all be measured and the measurements will be on my website so people know what they're getting. So this one was a little under. I should be checking my work. You're right. Can I please repeat the address for the pottery shop? The pottery shop, Wolff Pottery, is at 1249 Banham Road in Banham, Connecticut, 06750. We are open Tuesday through Sundays, 12 to 5. And I am down there on Wednesdays through Sundays, 12 to 5. Yeah, so it has a little split rim there. You can see that. Hey guys, I got 2 more to go here. It's gonna be my first YouTube live. I've done so many Instagram live feeds. You can check me out at Instagram at Wolff Pottery. I've done many live feeds there, but I've never done one here. So this is cool. And thanks for everybody for chatting and talking. Enjoying. Of course, Instagram is vertical and using the camera. So setting this up horizontal, I have to be like, hey, what's up? So you got a view of my clay-covered torso. So for the potter that was asking too, though, gauges work really well. I have one of these old school gauges you can use too for your measuring. Say you want to make a ton of something and you want to check your work, you can just screw these down at the size you want, measure it, make sure you're at where you're at. That's a great gauge. But yeah, well, there goes that tool. We'll use that one. I'm really gonna freehand it. I am watching this on my TV. Very cool. Is it clear on your TV? How many saucers have you made in your lifetime? Let's just say Thousands more than you, Dad. That was a great question. So my dad barks at making saucers. He always has. Doesn't like him. And I have to. Everybody wants a saucer that that orders from me online. So I have to make a saucer. And the problem with them is that you can't glaze them because, for one, it takes up so much room in the kiln, so much extra time, and usually low-fired glaze still sweats. So I have to use epoxy, which is a real pain to use because it takes a while to cure. But once it does, it actually holds water. So I've been making thousands of saucers, and everybody comes into the shop. And because I'm finally making saucers, they all come in and just take tons of saucers for the pots they've had for years. So it's been this reoccurring theme that I am out of saucers. So if you were on Instagram yesterday, Dad, you would have saw me make 80 saucers live. So yeah, I made 80 of those yesterday, and we'll have those down at the shop this weekend. All right, let's see what we're gonna do here. Very simple on this, I'd say. Let's try this tool, actually. This is a fun one. My father likes to refer to this as a heavy dent. So you'll see why in a second. I'm making flower pots. Nope, that one has a... Let's see what happens when you look at the screen and not at the pot. It's kind of funny looking at the screen and not really at what you're doing. It's like making pots in the mirror. American Psycho reference, I guess. I think this one needs a line right about here. All right, so this is a heavy dent, which is always fun. So it has it's dented all the way around. So I have one more to do. So for everybody in here, I appreciate it. Sticking around for this last hour, I guess. Wow, okay, it's been an hour. So I made 12 of these in an hour. That was quick. Thanks for sticking around. And if you haven't hit the like button, subscribe, I appreciate it if you do. Oh yeah, I forgot to drop my tool. I'll use a different one. Let's try, you know what? Let's try a whole different shape for this last one. I'm going to go with a very bulbous. These would be good for succulents or something that likes to be held in. Actually, this is a whole different shape, Pops. It's very close, but it is quite a different shape. But yes, these round bulbous pots that have been very popular in the shop. One more cleanup with this one. Then I just want to define that line. It looks pretty smooth. As long as it looks smooth, I'm good to go. And I have the cutaway. And I'm just cleaning up the outside. I gotta clean the inside out, make sure all the water is out. If you leave the water in the bottom of the pot, it will crack. And that's that. That's 12 number 4 orchid, or I'm sorry, 12 number 4 flower pots today. I got orchids on the mind. I have a lot of orchid pots I need to make. So maybe that's in a different video. All right, so that's that, everybody. Thanks for letting us all watch. Of course, thank you for watching. Yeah, so yeah, thanks everybody, and we'll see you the next time. Take care. Thank you.